Welcome back to Wizard Supercoach. Got some free time on my hands, so I thought I'd do a second video for the day. This doesn't happen very often, the free time. So, yeah, I thought I'd run through each game from the weekend and just talk about Supercoach relevant players and see if there's any that pop up that may not be being talked about elsewhere. So obviously we'll start with the Brisbane Collingwood game, which feels forever ago now. Not much at the top there for Brisbane. McInerney 108, 43 hitouts. It's about what you'd expect against a team that has no ruckman at all. If that's the best you're going to get though, 108. He's not Supercoach relevant whatsoever. Lockie Neal 102. Obviously I own him. Be patient. Brisbane's midfield, they're going to work it out eventually and they'll all shoot up. Andrews 87. He's been pretty solid this year. I don't think he's worth picking, but definitely keep an eye on him. McKenna good again, 86. Dunkley quiet, 84. Same as Neil. Have patience. He'll come good. That's probably his lowest score for the year. Like will be his lowest score. Bailey 83. It's probably a better score for him this year. He's definitely a victim of Dunkley coming into the team, getting less midfield time. Ashcroft 75. Everyone's got him. That's irrelevant. McCluggage 64. He's scored low 60s, I think, in every single game. So he's going to be very, very cheap soon. And we know that he can score well. It's just a matter of what happens with Brisbane's midfield when they sort it out. Is he going to get enough time? I don't know. I don't know when he's going to pick up, but he will pick up again. And he'll be very cheap. And he could be a very handy pod. So keep your eye on him. Wilmot 50. They've given him the brick wall symbol here. I don't think he's hit the wall yet. 50 is pretty standard for him at the moment. Yeah, nothing else on that side. Dacos 151. What more can you say? The guy's an absolute pig. Pendlebury sneaking under the radar, 109. I think he's scored over 100 in every game now. That's just off the top of my head. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's because DeGoey and the stars like Dacos is getting more attention. So Pendlebury will just keep doing what he always does. And yeah, he'll stay under the radar. So he's not a bad one. Like, he'd be worth keeping your eye on. He's still relatively cheap. I think he's only gone up 30 grand since the start of the year, so very consistent. DeGoey himself, he's having a big year by his standards. He's another one that would be a decent pick. Bobby Hill 95. What's he priced at? 280. Probably a bit high. I think he's put together a couple of good scores now. I think he's just very inconsistent, like most small forwards. Actually, that's not too bad. The 43 lets him down. Yeah, nah, he's too expensive. He probably wasn't a good pick to begin with. Never mind. Noble 93. He's having a better season. I still wouldn't be picking him. Johnson 81. I think that's his second week in a row that he's gone 80. But he's only got the 2 hitouts, so really the ruck time's not really affecting his score. I don't know if you can hear the neighbour's dog barking, but it's pretty annoying. And it's really windy here in Adelaide too, so if you can hear the dog or the wind, I apologise. Josh Dacos, definitely a quieter game for him. Tom Mitchell, 64. Now, this is what we all thought would happen. He'd chuck in some really shitty scores every now and again. Didn't expect the hot start from him. I think this is what's going to happen. If Collingwood aren't dominating, Mitchell's going to absolutely suffer with his scoring. Like 20 touches, only 2 tackles. 5 contested possessions. That's really low for him. Yeah, that's really weird. So this is why he wasn't considered a good pick by so many. Side bottom back down to earth 48. That's normal side bottom. He'll give you 100 plus 1 week and then back down to the 40s. I don't know how he got on that run at the start, but it was never going to last. So move on to the next game now. North Melbourne and Carlton. Sorry, I'll just get this ready. What is it with fan footy these days? It's like AIDS for my antivirus. Just ads and pop-ups and shit everywhere. Monty, get on top of it, mate. So we'll start with North Melbourne. Sheasel, obviously. Fantastic. Davies Uniac, 102. That's not bad, really, considering that Carlton's midfield is so hard to score against. I know people were hoping for more, but that's really not bad at all. Goldstein, 97. He could be a sneaky pod, but I'm just not at that age and stuff. I think that his consistent hundreds are past him. Zeeble, 92. Again, people were hoping for more. But yeah, for his price, 92 is fine. I don't think that he's going to be a keeper, though, like other people think. I haven't actually chosen him myself. He's not that high of a priority, in my opinion. Like, he's going to do well and he's going to make you money and stuff. But yeah, I'm not sold on him at all. But I have noticed that Supercoach scoring, it does seem to favour those CL types these days, whereas I think back in the day, it didn't used to as much. So, I don't know, maybe I'm imagining it. But anyway. North just don't have many relevant players, to be honest. Will Phillips, 67, another decent score for those who were brave enough to go with him. Cunnington, 44, if you've still got him, get rid of him. He's not what he was. Comben, 29, nobody should have Comben. And you're probably all sitting there saying, well, nobody should have a couple of the players that I have, but, you know, whatever, we're all human. McGovern, 124 now. Some people are pointing to him as one of the main reasons why Doherty's scoring has dropped off. I don't think so. But anyway, he's injured again, and he's always injured, just like his brother. So, yeah, I wouldn't be touching him. Cripps, 114. He's another one that I think is just flying under the radar. If you started with him, well done. He's been really bloody good. Sard, 104. That's not bad. I was hoping for more, but yeah, whatever. Wiedering, 93. He's had some really good scores and one really bad one, so good to see him scoring decent again, but I wouldn't pick him. I've actually got him in draft, though. I just sit him on the bench just in case, because I can't trust him. But yeah, he's not the worst pick in the world if you started with him, considering he would have been cheap because last year he was scoring terrible. Doherty, 71. Now he's out injured, so no way you can hold him now. The shit thing about that is that now he's lost money, like a lot of money. I'm glad I punted him in round 2. Well, end of round 2 anyway. George Hewitt, 67. That's low for him. Wouldn't be picking him anyway, seeing as he's mid only this year. Holland's, 52. You'd probably be hoping for more than that. What was he like? 160, 170k to begin with. And Cowan, 51, third week in a row or whatever it was. So Now, Dawson, 173. Bloody hell. I didn't see that coming. He's playing in the midfield and half back now. And he's just doing as he pleases. I don't expect he's going to get that this week. Ed Kerno's probably going to tag him. But yeah, if you started with Dawson, well done. I wanted to. I almost did. I got talked into starting Doherty, which is one of the main reasons why I'm so far back now. I just thought Doherty was going to get in the midfield time without Walsh, and I guess he sort of is, but it just hasn't translated like it normally would. Rankin 112. He's probably one to keep an eye on, although I don't think he's consistent enough. Michelani, or Michael Annie as they call him, 103. I can't believe this kid. Like, there was nothing at all in pre-season to suggest that he was going to be a good pick. Literally every single thing went against him. He had shit numbers as a junior. He didn't look like he had good job security. He didn't look like, if he did get a game, that his role was going to be good at all. He was a higher price for a rookie. I don't know. It's just worked out. He's kind of like Sam DeConning last year, or who was the other one? Gibcus. So every year it seems the defender rookies really save us. So well done to Shorty for starting him. I don't know why you would have, but yeah, I wish I had have. 97 from Laird. It's presenting headaches for people, but don't worry about it. He's going to come good. It's not like he's scoring badly. I don't think any midfielder apart from Clary has been an absolute standout anyway, and you're not picking Laird to make money, so just chill. He'll be fine. Probably pump out 150 this week or something, and then everyone will shut up. Chase Jones, 93. He looked amazing last week as the sub, and then this week again, he looked really good. He looks hungry. Sorry about that. If he could get some job security and keep performing like this, he'd be worth looking at. Seems to just roll off half back, doing as he pleases. He kind of reminds me of Miller in the way that I was saying that Miller should have been delisted, and then before all the injuries and stuff, and then he just all of a sudden started looking really good one day, like just instantly overnight. And Jones looks like that right now from the last 2 games. So hopefully he can keep that up. Thilthorpe's probably an interesting one for the future. You don't really notice him do much, like apart from the showdown, but he does score pretty consistently. So I think in a year or two, he's definitely one to look at, because he plays obviously key forward, but he pinch hits in the ruck as well. And he's pretty good and mobile around the ground for his size. So not this year, obviously, but definitely got my eye on him for the future. Rochelle, 71. His disposal efficiency let him down 45%. The kid's a beast. 3 goals, 20 possessions. He's playing the midfield forward split. I think next year he'll be a pick for sure. But this seems like a bit of a breakout for him. Him and Rankin rotating mid and forward together. Like, you'll never see them both in the midfield, and they don't seem to be forward together either. So it's pretty cool. It's like Mitchell and Adams at Collingwood. Rob, a 70. That's pretty low for him. He's normally pretty good for a 90 at least. But he was up against Shrek, and that's pretty bloody hard for anyone. And Rob's actually not one of the taller ruckmen. I think he's only like 202 centimeters or something. So the really big guys, like Shrek, looks like he weighs about 200 kilos. So he's always going to struggle with guys like that. But Rob is good around the ground. So now, I said a couple of weeks ago to keep the eye on Duday. He looks like he's gone back to normal. So I wouldn't be bothering to watch him anymore. He could be good, but he seems to just be Mr. Fix-It. Like, if Nixie needs him to play lockdown, he does. If he wants to roll off, he does. So he's at Nixie's mercy, really. So that ruins him as a pick. Not much else on there. Shrek 125. That's pretty good. I don't know what everyone's complaining about with Shrek. Honestly, he's doing better than Marshall. Brayshaw 114, return to form for him. He's been pretty crappy this year. Luke Ryan 111, he just keeps on going. I really want to get him in my team. People seem to think that he's going to stop scoring. It's been a month now and he hasn't. And I know he's never had a really high average before, but look at Jack Sinclair last year. Neither had he. He broke out and he was 28 years old or something, so it doesn't really mean anything. It can happen. McGovern this year was averaging well over 100 until he got injured. That still makes me sad. There's been others. Like, obviously, it's not common, but I don't think that's a good enough reason to not pick a guy that's performing. It's that old saying in footy is that people's opinions are usually 18 months behind in footy, so players doing really well, they won't start to get noticed until 18 months later. It's not quite that extreme, but I think that's what's happening with Ryan. So I'll be looking at trying to get him in, I think. Because Fremantle aren't going to be good this year. The ball's going to live in that back half, and if they want to keep chipping it around, Ryan's going to be the man, and he's good for an intercept and stuff, so definitely a good pick. Sarong 100, he's one for the future, probably not this year. Cox 89, so a better score from him for those who picked him up, but he was always going to be a bit of a trap. He doesn't have the ability that Ryan has to kind of win his own ball and take intercepts and that. Like, Cox was only getting those scores from the crazy chip around game that they were playing. So I'd much rather have someone like Ryan that can do it without the chip around game. Young 63, it's going to let down people that had faith in him. Should have seen the writing on the wall in the preseason game when he wasn't taking kickouts or anything. He had a good round one though. Give him that. Nathan Wilson, he was looking okay this week. 43, that's pretty crappy, so that's pretty much wrecked him. Nothing else there. Matthew Johnson as the sub. Sucks for him. He's not really going to be a pick now. Really would have slowed his cash gen. So, move on to the next game. Sorry again about the antivirus thing popping up. I can't believe how shit fan footy is now. Anyway. Taranto 114, 63 disposal efficiency. Yeah, he had a massive second half or last 3 quarters. Talked about it in the last video. For a guy that can't hit a bloody target, he just gets it done, relying on contested possessions and stuff, so really good there. Imagine if he could hit a target. Due to be unstoppable. Rioli 136, that's good for anyone that had him. I actually know a couple of people that have him as a pod. Nankervis 97, and now he's going to be out for, you'd think, like 4 to 6 weeks or something with syndesmosis surgery. I saw him as a safe pick because he's pretty durable, and he's a bit like Rob. Like they hover around that high 90s, low hundreds mark. Nice and consistent. Just rack up the total points. Nankervis was 5th, I think, last year for total points, so he was never a bad pick. One of my mates bought him in this week for Darcy Cameron, I believe, so bad luck there. Even if you go the safe option like Nankervis, it can really backfire. Dusty 94, he looks better this season than last season, but his days of being a pick are over. Baker 83, again, he's going to tease people and suck them in. Big score, small score, small score, big score, decent, that kind of shit. Don't want nothing to do with that. Oppa 75, he's a worry. He'll definitely have to go sooner rather than later, but he shouldn't be your biggest problem right now, unless you're maybe in the top 10 or something. Tyler Young, 61, he'll make money for people. Ryan, 44, so he's going to be the only ruck now with Nankervis out. And he's already had a price jump, but it wasn't too much, so you can still get him in. I just don't know if he's going to score too much in the ruck. He's worth a punt if you want him. Like, if you got Radigalia, you could go down to him. Even though Radigalia had a bloody big game this week, and of course it was the week that I traded him out, so thanks for that. Tim English, 145. What a legend. I took the punt on him. I was a bit nervous because I picked him up second half of last year, and he didn't even average 100, and we know he's injury prone, but if you aren't going to get him and he continues this, it's not even worth playing, because he's just by far the best ruck right now. At least until Gorn gets back. Can he keep up with this crazy average though? I don't know. It doesn't matter. He's already got the head start, so if you've already got him, good. Libba 141, great pod for whoever picked him this year. Dale 136, back to normal. Actually, that's pretty high for him. He's not got a high ceiling, so that's pretty damn good for Dale. 21 kicks. Bont 122, that's what we want to see. McRae 103, even though he's spending time forward. Bevo's destroyed him. Maybe it's because McRae's more of an accumulator than he is damaging. He's been a really good pick for years, but I think he's done. Like, I'm not going near him. If he got forward eligibility, maybe. But I just can't trust Bevo. Ed Richards, 88. That's disappointing. I think he's a victim of Bevo salad as well. But yeah, next year, if Bevo's gone, I'll be picking Richards. Bailey Smith, 69. He's having a shocker this year. Wonder if it's the Bailey Sniff stuff from last year that's got to his head or something, but maybe it's Bevo as well. I'll just blame Bevo. Bruce, 62. That's good for whoever owns him. I got scared off of that pick, even though he was in my team all pre-season. He just looks a bit lost and unco down there, but I guess so did Radigalia. I still chose him. But that was purely for the ruck coverage, which didn't work anyway in the end. Oscar Baker, 47. So 20 touches, but he's got a 60%. No tackles. 2 contested possessions. So he's just a dirty little seagull on the wing that doesn't translate at the moment to points. The reason he got the big score is because he was farming score assists. And obviously when that's not happening, 47 is what you get. But he'll still make money, so that's fine. He can just sit on my bench and be a loot for Mackenzie. Jones, 45. This is exactly why I got rid of him after round 1. After I saw 5.5. Didn't want that near my team. Now, Bose hasn't been a perfect pick, but that's who I got rid of Jones for, and Bose is way outscoring him, so give me Bose any day. Nothing else there. Oh, Crozier injured. Back injury. Well, that happened in the third quarter, and he'd only had 5 touches anyway, so he looked like he could have been a good pick, but for whatever reason, just injuries and other bullshit, he's not scoring well, so I hope people haven't been sucked in by him. I nearly was. Mitch Owens, 143. He's averaging over 100 this year. That's crazy. No one would have seen that one coming. He does seem like the kind of player, though, that Ross can take to the next level. Ross loves those kind of players. Sinclair 113. Definitely one to look at now that he's dropped in price. What's his break even? Let's see. So he's 576k. Break even 154. So next week would be the week to get him. It's up against the Magpies this week. I can't see him going 150 against them. Hunter Clark 101. If you're brave enough, well done. Marshall 96. He bloody got subbed out with like a quarter to go. So thanks, Ross. Even still, I got doubts on him. Mason Wood 89. That's his lowest score for the season. He's been amazing. One of my mates has him as a pod, and I think it's genius. There's a fine line in Supercoach between full nuff and genius. Wood was under injury cloud though, so that's probably why his score was slightly lower. But he's another one that Ross just loves those kind of players and makes them into stars. Stocker 77. I think he's gone like 70 in nearly every game. So great pick for those who went Stocker. I wish I had have. And Wangani Malera 70. That's probably better for him. Better score. I just noticed that he tries to bite off way too much with his kicks. He's a good kick. But you don't always have to go for the impossible just because you can. Kama 64. He's doing really good for those who picked him. He was basement price, and he's doing way better than I expected he would have. Filippo 61. You'd want more for that price, I think. And Bytel, he was the sub and came on, and I think he lasted 9 minutes or something and got injured, so he unfortunately copped the karma that was coming for Ross for subbing Marshall. Bytel was the victim. Anderson 134, Miller 122. Definitely want to pick up Miller as soon as he bottoms out. Let's see where he's at. I wouldn't be touching Rao or Anderson though, because both of them have crappy efficiency. Miller's definitely the man if you want a Sun. So break even 128 against Fremantle. Shit, he could get that. So 625, that might be as cheap as you're going to get him. So might have to get him in this week if you want him. I don't think I can. Sorry if you can hear that car. It's making all my snare drums shake. Bill Power, 102, good return. It's not much relevance in Suns, to be honest. They're just all over the place, so inconsistent. Ned Moyle, 64 in his first game, but you wouldn't expect Witts is going to be out for much longer. He'll probably play this week. I think he was just out from soreness, so. But yeah, Moyle did look decent. 35 hit-outs against Marshall. Rao, 12 touches, no marks. It just shows, like, he can't spread. He's good for one thing, and that's stoppages and tackling. Apart from that, he's just so one-dimensional. People give shit to Matt Crouch. I don't think Rao is too much different. He's just got a better defensive side to his game. Bailey Humphrey 39 this first game, nothing to write home about. Ben Long 30. He's crap. He needs to be dropped. Bring in Constable, do us all a favour. Ben King, 23. That's exactly what I thought he'd be scoring. Crap like that. He's a classic key forward that if the ball hits the ground or he can't mark it, he might as well not even be there. He does nothing. No tackles, no marks. That's not good at all. His brother's far better. So I can get rid of these bloody things. Chad Warner, 137. That's finally what we were expecting. I did want to pick him in pre-season after watching the grand final. I thought he was going to break out. It hasn't happened. Might be because Horse is a bit of a bevo himself. Maybe not that nuffy, but he's not far off. Lloyd 120. Is he back or what? I'm not sure. I don't think that he's gone under like 95. And he's only 5'19". Oh, so he went 93, but still. Wow, he might be back. He's definitely one to look at that price. If you want just like a consistent 100. It's obviously been a shift in the Swans' defence this year, because you see Rampy is suddenly scoring well most of the time. And Lloyd looks like he's back, so I'm going to have to look into that. Something's going on. Something big has changed. Yeah, there's much worse picks than Lloyd out there. He used to be uber primo. I think he averaged like 122 or something in a season. And then he kind of dropped off a cliff the next year, but he was always good for 100 plus for about, I don't know, 4 years or something. So definitely look into that. Take my word. Rampy 108, see? I don't know what's going on there. Blakey 106. You would think that if Lloyd was going to pick up, that Blakey would drop off. That hasn't happened. Maybe Sydney are trying to possess the ball back there more. I'm going to have to watch them closely. Golden 102. Not getting the CBAs we want. Still good that he scored on 102 though. That's his average. He is scary though, because he goes like whole quarters where he'll get like 5 points and then he'll go big in the next quarter, and I hate watching him. Mills 87. The people that predicted him to drop off big time this year because he was going to be like the Swiss Army knife. Well, it's happened. Well done. I wasn't going to pick him for that reason as well, so he might be interesting though. If he starts coming good again, he's going to be cheap, and we know that he can go absolutely massive. His ceiling is like as big as anyone's, even Clary. Heaney 85. He's way down this year. Not much else there. Amadi 21. Wow. He's got to go this week if you have him. He's not going to make the money now. And yeah, sad to see Paddy McCartan getting concussed again. That could be curtains for him, unfortunately. He'll always be remembered as a great pick last year, though. Another sad one, Finlayson, 134. Now, I don't care who you go for, you can't not feel sorry for the man with his personal life at the moment. Good on him. Good to see him playing well against the odds. Alir, 111. He's having a good year again after a down one last year. The Horny Man, Horny Bonkic, 95. I don't know how he keeps scoring so high. Oh, actually, I guess there he's got 11 contested, 77 efficiency. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Rosie 84, he got tagged by, I think it was Rowbottom. Come on. Yeah, tagged by Rowbottom 84. I don't have him, so I enjoyed seeing that. I chose Golden over him, and I think Golden's actually outscoring him for the year. I could be wrong. They're pretty even though. Just Golden was a bit cheaper, so had to go there. Dylan Williams, 64. So he'll be on the... Oh no, he played his first game a couple of years ago, so he's not on the bubble. Watch him this week, because Fantasia's out. You'd think he'd keep his spot after that. If he does 60 odd again, I'll be looking to get him in on the bubble. But we do know that Kenny likes to bring in a player for 2 games and then drop him on the bubble. Same as Stewie Dew. Power Pepper 46, back to earth. Ollie Wines 34. Oh, what's going on there? He's had a crappy season. I can't work out though, like how How's that so low? 19 disposals, 52% efficiency. Oh, 8 clangers, bloody hell. Yeah, he's going to be cheap, so keep an eye on him because we saw in his Brownlow year that he can really start to rack it up. But I don't think we're going to see that again. I don't even think he deserved the Brownlow that year, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Crom supporter. There's been worse winners, but yeah, I didn't even have him in the top 5 that year. But anyway, I'll try and stay on the subject of Supercoach. Redmond 128 is what people wanted to see when they picked him. Merritt 111, he is always a case of let him have his quiet first half of the year and pick him up discounted in the second half of the year. Draper 109, that's probably his highest of the year. Still not picking him though. I don't think he's going to have the breakout that people predicted. He is hard to score against though. I'll give him that. String of 4-6 for 108 points. Bloody hell. Parrish 98. I don't know if you'd be happy with that if you own him. Ridley 88. See, I didn't get sucked in by that. Having been a Ridley owner for the last couple of years, it doesn't matter who they've got back there. He's always going to have to play lockdown at some point, and they're not always going to go through him. They got Redmond back there. Who's the other? Oh, they got McGrath back there on half back now. There's not enough ball to go around for all of them. Setterfield 87. He's almost got to go this week, I think. Can't see him scoring well against Melbourne's midfield. He's already made 95k, so he's not a failed pick at all. But yeah, it depends. If you get rid of him and you get in like Clary or someone, that's fine. But don't just get rid of him and do something stupid. Not a lot here. Essendon's not really relevant. Davey 45. He'll just sit and be a slow burn on the bench. He might get dropped this week too, I'm hearing, so, or rested as they call it. Now, just like Lloyd, Nick Haynes has come back, and he's suddenly relevant again. 117, he's worth keeping an eye on. How much does he cost? 400k. He's almost worth getting. If he can keep this up. What's he averaging? He's averaging 96 at 400. Oh, maybe not. Scratch that. I would not at that price. If he was cheaper, then if he was like 350, then yeah, I think he'd be worth it. But he's already at 4, so nah. Not when he's getting like high 80s and stuff. Jelly 108. He's been a good pick if you got him after the concussion thing. Green 99. Not setting the world alight. Not doing bad either. Whitfield's not really relevant anymore. I refuse to talk about him because he burnt me so bad last year at the start. Buckley 80. It's not exactly what you'd want, but it's not bad at all. He's quite a good pick if you've already got him. And I didn't see that one coming at all, especially not when he was the... Was he a late in or a sub or something in round 1 against the Crom? Something like that. So well done whoever picked him. Cumming 76, he's way down. I don't know why he's so far down this year. Because we all thought when Himmelberg went back there last year that he was the reason why Cumming's scoring dropped off. Obviously Himmelberg's up forward again, and Cumming just hasn't bounced back at all. I think it's Haynes is stealing his points. So it seems that Adam Kingsley really likes Haynes. So he's got the plum job. But I'd have to watch that one a bit more closely. Ash 75, that's not bad for whoever's got him. I think Hippo's got him. Cogs 71, I don't want to talk about Cogs. He's pissed me off 2 weeks in a row. can see why Leon Cameron used to lose his mind at him. If you watched what was that doco that was on the AFL doco back in the COVID times, and it followed those 8 players or whatever, showed Leon Cameron to be an absolute tool. Anyway, Callahan 65. I think you can call him a failed pick. Like, he's making money, but not what you want. Flynn 63, back down to earth. As soon as he comes up against decent ruckman, he's not going to score well. And this is sad, just watching Himmelberg waste away in the forward line. Like 3 goals and he gets 54 points. He could be down back, racking up tons. And I know real footy's nothing to do with Supercoach, but it'd be nice to see. Rouston 37. Someone actually asked me in the comments through the week, who did I think was better pick, Rouston or Phillips? I said Rouston, because he gets CBAs, probably better job security and stuff. And I think Phillips outscored him by like 30, so sorry about that. But I did notice that every other YouTuber that I've watched, they had Phillips. Sorry, they had Rouston, they had a Phillips as well. So we all had the same logic. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. You got to make your own decisions and go with your own gut. That's exactly why. Because none of us are experts. Everyone's just playing the same game and trying to grind through the same bullshit. Yeah, there's not much else there. This is a bloody interesting one. Tom Barras, or Barras, or I don't know how you say it. Barras? 116. I'm actually considering getting him. Like, highly considering it. You probably think I'm insane. How much is he now? And I'll tell you why I want to get him. He's 480. Last year, in the second half, like after the buys, I think he averaged like 110 to 115 without McGovern in the team. Now, McGovern's just gone down and he's going to be out for at least 12 weeks. So now Barras is the main man back there. If you think he can do it again, pick him up. But I think he can, because West Coast are also now playing that chip game back there. And if you watch them play, because I was watching Gov closely, you will have noticed that the other 2 main men are Barras and Hearn. So they're probably going to kick the ball to each other a hell of a lot now. So that's my tip. Lloyd and Barras, if you're going to get someone cheap. Who else is there? But also, don't come crying to me if it doesn't work, because as you can see from my own team, if you're following me at all, I can get things wrong. But that's my gut feel, is that Barras is going to go pretty big without McGovern. Oscar Allen 71. He seems to just hang around that low 70s mark. That's really good if you picked him up. Because what was he like? 200? 210 or something at the start of the year? I'd be happy with that for that price. Yo 57. He got subbed out. Just don't touch him. I had to learn the hard way. Just avoid any West Coast veterans, or really any West Coast players at all. Like, I don't know what's going on at that club, but everyone's unfit. Everyone's injury prone. Jimby will probably go down soon as well. Cole back to 55. He's either good or shit. West. Oh, sorry, not West. Noah Long 49. It's one of his, I think, his lowest score. It's not good timing. Jimby 40. He was always going to have a low one eventually. I think these kids just kind of, they run on adrenaline for the first month or so, and then they inevitably have a down game because they run out of steam, with the exception being Cheezel. Cully 28. I know he's not exactly relevant, but I thought that Cully may have even been a decent pick in the preseason until he got injured, so that's really weird for him to be getting so low. I don't know what's going on at West Coast. They're a rabble. Grundy 144 against BJ Williams. That's about what you'd expect. The only reason I didn't get Grundy, like I knew this would happen against West Coast, obviously, but I didn't want to waste another trade getting rid of Grundy once Gawn's back, because I've already used so many trades from injuries and shit. So, English it was, and I'm completely happy with that. Clary 121. What a star. He's probably the standout midfielder this year. Petrarca 103. He's always an interesting pod. He's not the most consistent. Brayshaw 74. Don't go near him. Don't get sucked in. Hunter 71. He looked really good at the start, and he's come back down to earth. McVee 70. That's really good for him. He looked like he was going to be a completely dead pick, but that may have just restarted him. And Chandler 59. Not what people would have wanted. Made me feel better about the Van Ruin thing with me putting him on the field. Only 53, and I'm sure other people fielded Chandler. I only lost 6 points there. And I could have had Fergus, Kermit, Green on the field instead, but who's to know? Rookie roulette sucks. I hate it. Every year it's bullshit. Jazza Cameron 156. He is a legitimate option now. Now I don't like to go for key forwards. He's just doing everything. He's everywhere on the ground. He's trying to win the games off his own boot, and he's just about doing it. Like, he scored more goals than bloody Hawthorn did. So if you're going to pick him, it's really not a bad idea. He's got a big ceiling. He's got a pretty good floor for a key forward too, so I got no problem if anyone wants to pick him. I don't think I will, but he could be a real interesting F7 at the end of the year if you want to try and loop him. But it's too early to be thinking about that now. Holmes 115. Some people thought he was going to be a breakout this year. He might be. He just seems inconsistent. Stewart 92. Where's he at now? I don't think he's going to be in the top 2 defenders this year. He's capable of an absolutely massive one, as we've seen. But he's just not as consistent anymore. I don't think Geelong play the same way. Well, so he's got break even of 69, I guess. But you got to remember, this week coming is his last week with that 167 in the price cycle. So he's probably going to drop again. Anyway. Radically at 88. Had to be the week I traded him out. Every time. So he's just restarted his cash gen again. And it was definitely his best game. He looked far more composed. I guess it was only against Hawthorn though. They don't have any key forwards to speak of. Bose 72. That was frustrating to see him on 15 at half time. But that's a really good recovery. 57 points in the second half. He's definitely a victim of Chris Scott, and basically Geelong just burn all the new players. It seems like they only trust their premiership stars. No coincidence when they started to use him in the second half. Obviously they took over the game. I'm not suggesting it's because of Bose, but it's because of the way they started playing. They started to use the back door more and spread the ball a bit better, rather than Dangerfield and that just trying to bust through 10 tackles, which isn't going to work anymore. Blitzarv 65 and he's injured. I really considered starting him in the preseason just because of all the ruck carnage that was going on. Everyone was so unsure of who was going to be decent, and I thought of Blitzarves and Marshall just for some stability, and the plan was going to be hopefully he could get like 90s, low 100 in that time, and then I could have punted him and picked up whoever was actually performing, given that we had the 36 trades. But lucky I didn't, because Blitzarves has not been consistent whatsoever. I think a lot of these Geelong players are now starting to fall off the cliff because of their age finally. We have heard that before though, and then they all just bounce back and win an easy flag. Will Day 107, he's probably going to spend a week off. So it's a hard one. If you had picked him, well done. But now it's going to bite you in the ass for a week. I can't see him getting... Like, the minimum penalty, I think, will have to be a week off for what he did. Josh Ward, 96. That would have been nice last year when everyone had him. Instead, he was busy pumping out 38s and stuff. Dylan Moore, 89. He's so bloody good, but he's not a good pick because Hawthorn suck. And if he's not getting CBAs, like Mitchell likes to play a bit of Bevo salad with the CBAs, he's not going to score up forward too much in a team like that. Sicily, 76, that's way down for him. I don't even know why. It just seemed like Geelong were going forward and just avoiding him. He was probably playing on Hawkins. Let's see. Oh, so he was on Cameron. Wow, that's interesting. Really had his colours lowered there. Warple, 75. Not a bad recovery. He was really struggling early on. He seemed to go better once Hawthorn dropped off. Fergus, Kermit Green, 73. It's his best score of the season. That's really good. Makes more money on the bench. Actually, I might field him this week. I don't know. It depends if Pedler plays. I think I'd field him over Van Rooyen, Royan. Newcomb, 54. That's low. A lot of people had him pegged for a bit of a breakout because he's going to be the number one man in the midfield. It hasn't happened. Mackenzie, 49. Frustrating stuff. We knew we were going to get inconsistency. But, you know, at least make your floor a 60 or something, please. But again, that's a victim of Sam Mitchell and the Bevo Salad CBAs. It's this dude, Connor Nash. When he's in the team, Mackenzie drops off. And it looks like he's picked up a head knock. Not saying I hope that he's concussed or anything. I just hope he doesn't play this week for some other reason. Lloyd Meek, 46. He was sort of appealing in the preseason. Like, he had a decent average when he was with Fremantle, but the fact they play him and Reeves together just means neither of them are going to be a pick. They're like a full 50-50 split. No thanks. And that's about it. So, we've had a month of data now. I think that the players that are on top, you've got to look at it and, like a Luke Ryan, you've got to think, like, is it just the fixture? Because I think the fixture is having a lot to do with some players' scores. Fremantle have had a relatively easy fixture, but I don't think that's why Ryan is scoring. Like, what happens when they come up against the top teams? The ball's going to be down there a whole lot more, and that's just more opportunity for him to have it and chip it around, get some kickouts. He looks like the guy taking the kickouts. So I think that's like one of the most important factors right now after the month's data. So determine if it's the fixture or if the player is just scoring. Like Sicily last year, I think people, and Sinclair, people were very doubtful at the start, thinking, oh, they can't keep this up, and they just did. If after a month a player is still running hot, I think you got to look at him. So like Lloyd, definitely look at him. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any left field picks, and if you think that I've completely botched some opinions on players here. But yeah, like and subscribe so I can feel like this is worthwhile. because it does take time out of the day. And thanks for watching. Hopefully you got something out of it, and I'll see you in the next video.